man. It's another show, man. It's episode 24. You guys know how we go. We get this thing going one way or another. If you don't like it, it's your mother. We going to get this thing going. I got my guy, Big Game James. You cannot spell James without putting Big Game in front of it, man. What's up, man?
What's up, big dog? I'm out here chilling, Mo Dillon, all good things. You know, training camp started today. Whew. It's finally here, man. Like it's finally here. It seems like football takes forever, but it's finally here, man.
It finally is, man, and all of the talk, the naysayers, everybody got some opinions about my Cowboys, right? Oh, my
Right.
my, my bad, our Cowboys. Everybody got an opinion
I
about
feel
our
you. I
Cowboys.
say it too.
Yeah,
I say it too. My Cowboys, damn it.
yeah, my Cowboys, mine. This is my team. I was playing,
You know what I
but
mean?
did you get a chance to see any highlights or anything? Because I just made it back, man. I was just talking to some business talk earlier, so. Did you get a chance to see anything?
Man, I got to see what really not a lot. I really won't be able to see it until we get off the broadcast tonight because I flew straight in from work, coming straight off from work here, just like how you had to take care of some things. However, at work I'll be sneaking, I'll be posting highlights, so I got to see a few things. The biggest key, I was excited. I got to see Randy Gregory out there. Of
Right.
course, he's now on the non-football injury list, so he's out there just basically got to get his legs underneath him. He's going to do a lot of drills. He looked good. He looked healthy. I posted it. And I still see some hate out there for him, and I think I'm really kind of frustrated by that right now,
Hmm.
Law, because I feel like this kid has battled back, and it's sad in this society that we want people to fail. It's sad in this society that we don't want to see people succeed. We don't want to see a success story. We rather see people just fail and fall off the earth because of their jealousy and their own wants and wanting to probably be a professional athlete and they can't. You know what I'm saying? So their
Hmm.
hatred comes out. You know what I mean? But when
Right.
you look at it, you want a guy who's battled back from this kind of stuff, and when you see the stuff like that, Law, those guys fall off. Alden Smith, we can name numerous of players that have done this, and you don't ever hear him from again. And the fact that he's battled back in these 2 years, and let's see him actually make it. Let's root for him. Let's not say, "Oh yeah, look at him. He look like he gonna do it again," or "Yeah, he gonna do it again." Man, let's be positive and let's root for this
Hmm.
kid. He could be a difference maker for our team. This could be a success story around for the whole NFL. Because if he can battle back and be a success story, now this gives hopes for other people out there that may be having issues like this, or just in general that you have battle people that battle problems, saying you can make it, you can do it, and you know what, the NFL is there to help you. So maybe it can bring the NFL, the players together as well, seeing a story like this being a success story.
Yes, man. If anything needs to happen successfully, this right here needs to happen successfully. Especially how Roger Goodell and his whole opinions of, or I guess his way of operating this NFL is just so crazy to me.
Right.
I just can't wait for Randy Gregory to prove everybody wrong. I'm rooting for him, but he got to still get out there and show up and show out. Of course, they have him listed at what, 245 pounds, 230,
Yes.
38, something like that.
240, 242.
242. So I'm not
Came in
worried
at
about that.
242.
I'm not even worried about it. My thing is, can he stay healthy? That's the only thing. I said earlier on the show, I said make a wish to stay healthy campaign. I'm gonna
Hmm.
throw him in the mix. I'm gonna throw Jalen Smith. I'm gonna throw Malik Collins. I'm gonna throw Sean Lee, and who else who need to stay healthy? Dan Bailey, Money Man Bailey. All those guys need to stay healthy. I think that if they can stay healthy,
Hmm.
we can see a different type of team as it relates to from what we saw from last year. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for when we're talking about just football in general in this off-season training camp. Because none of this stuff means nothing if these guys can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, health is always the key in any team because, I mean, football is one of the hardest sports to play out there. You rarely see a player go through a season saying, he's fully healthy or he ends the season. He's got all kind of bumps and bruises. So that's the biggest thing. It seems like the last few years, I mean, 2014, we lost Lee. In
Hmm.
2015, we lost Scandrick. And then, 2016 wasn't too bad. We still had a few injury fronts, but it wasn't crazy. Usually
Right.
when we don't have a lot of injuries, we roll. But at the end of the day, we got to have that depth that we've been talking about. Chaz Green, I seen he was out today. He was on a stretch on a card, but it was more dehydration, what I heard. Another big thing on the non-football injury list was Kayvon Frazier having the blood condition. I heard it's nothing too big. I was listening to Patrick Walker. He does the Dallas Cowboys 24/7 Sports.
Right.
He made a tweet and was saying that pretty much nothing is big, but I've been seeing a lot of prayer up from Kayvon Frazier. I follow him on Twitter. He's doing a lot of prayer up on his thing. So I don't know what that means. I'm not leading into anything, but maybe he's just hey, I've come this close and I don't need something like this, like a blood condition coming up.
Right, man. That's something that we always have to worry about, man. I remember Chris Bosh. You know him, from the
Yeah,
NBA side. He had
yeah.
blood clock situations. And I lost a
Hmm.
good friend. He was a friend of my father, and we used to play dominoes all the time. And he was in the Army and got back from the Army and, military, and retired from the military. And
Hmm.
just went in and did a simple leg operation, to get out some scar tissue that was in his knee. Caught a blood clot, and he's 6 feet deep now. So that stuff is serious, man. And I don't play around with that. Hopefully, it's just something that he can take a pill. Somebody said that he can take a pill and it can be all over with. As far as the blood clot situations, I don't know. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a scientist or anything like that. But it just kind of just stop the
Hmm.
pause the calls, whatever what they're saying.
Uh-huh.
Just take a pause to calls, I guess, to stop and look and realize that football is just a sport. But life, he got kids. He got a kid to worry about. He got a wife and
Yeah, brand new baby.
brand new baby. So I mean, those are things that he got to worry about. And I don't want the man to get out there and just try to prove a point and not make it to see his kid graduate or to see his kid get married and stuff like that. So hopefully, it's just something that can go away. But all we can do is just pray at this point.
Hmm.
My bad about that, guys. I just stumbled over everything. That's why we live, man. You guys gonna see us make mistakes over words. You guys gonna see us in our we just transparent. That's how it is, Big Game James.
Well,
That's how it is. It's life.
it's all good. Like I said, today's the first day.
Hmm.
Zeke looked really good as far as fit and trim. Like I said, he looked strong. He looked healthy, cocky, strong. Can't wait to see him. Posted some videos. I just love watching him run. Can't wait to see what Dak's going to bring to the table. It's just going to be a lot of battles. When you listen, I listened to a little piece from Stephen Jones when he was talking about training camp in general, and I think I have spoke on it more than a few times and saying, when you ask me one thing, are you excited about training camp? Is these battles that are coming up, these training camp battles that's the most exciting thing. And Stephen Jones hit it on his interview as well. He said he's really excited about seeing these training camp battles because you have so many openings. Like I said, the last few years it was always Witten. He had already had the tight end spot locked up. It
Hmm.
was always Dez Bryant. You know what I mean? It was always those guys, and that's what it was always going to be. Well, not always going to be, but that's what it had been, and
Right.
people were just accustomed and used to it. Now it's open season. Now tight end position, everybody's fighting for it because nobody has a spot. Wide receiver, nobody has a spot. All speculation. Training camp, preseason games is going to determine it. And like I said, a rookie can come in and sneak in and take somebody's spot, or there's going to be some surprise cuts. That's a fact. There's going to be a few surprise cuts. I told you a surprise cut. I don't care if anybody wants to get mad at me. I said a while ago, I definitely said a while ago that Rico could still be a surprise cut. We can see.
Hmm.
I don't want him to be, but we're going to see. I want to get there close to the action like we've been talking about, Law, so I can actually see this dude up close. I'm going up there next week. Hopefully me and Tyson, I've been
Right.
talking to Tyson West Coast. He's already out there. He had a video today. He's out there every day because he lives out in Cali West Coast.
Shout
But
out to
hopefully we
him,
can meet
man.
up. Shout out to West
Yeah.
Coast, but hopefully we can meet up. We've been talking back and forth. Maybe we can do a show, but he's getting near that action. You want to just get close to these guys and really see how they really work. I don't want to
Hmm.
see it from somebody. I want to see how they really work. So when I can really say, okay, you know what, this dude Taco Charlton is really improved, or you know what, Leo Collins is really a dog at right tackle. You feel me? That's what I really want to see, those year
Hmm.
two leaps from some of these guys.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, just like you said earlier, there's going to be a hard cut. There's going to be things that developing that we never seen before. This is the thing too, as well. Big Game James. Hey, how many Super Bowls did we win with Jason Witten?
Right,
How many Super Bowls did we win with Dez Bryant?
right,
How many Super Bowls did we win with Tony Romo?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to craft a story that these guys was the reason that we did not win the Super Bowl. But there's something about when you bring in something new. It means it's throwing in a new flavor, right? Sometimes we have to start by just looking back and starting over. And I think that this team, the leadership aspect of what Dak Prescott can bring, the leadership aspect of what pretty much what Ezekiel Elliott can bring as far as his experience from what he did from a collegiate level, right? Now you add in the sprinkle in the younger guys that you never seen before, like the Gallup kid and the Tavon Austin. Now he have the ability to run behind this particular offensive line. Look, this team is new. I do understand where the media is coming from, saying that okay, this team is not proven. They're not having the chippery, the loud talk like they did last year when they had Dez Bryant out there, when they had the TOs out there. This is a new leaf. Yes, I do understand where they're coming from, but sometimes this new philosophy,
We're gonna
it
be
can be
good.
it's just gonna be nice, man.
We're gonna have a good
Yeah.
team. We're gonna have a good team. I saw some of the drills today. Just in some of the highlights. Sean Lee looks good.
Oh
Jalen Smith
wow.
looked a more explosive as far as he looked like he wasn't hesitating on the foot, like kind of favoring it. Because last year you could see it. I don't care. Everybody was saying he was favoring the foot, and we could understand it. You had drop foot, so we can understand why you would favor it or try to put your pressure on it. Or when you're trying to do different moves, you're trying not to really put that foot into the ground. But now you can see. I've seen a few drills. Man, he was exploding right into that bag. Just looking good. Sean Lee was looking good. LVE is a big dude. Like
Yes, indeed.
he's a big kid, and I just really hope he grasps the system quickly and he could just be integrated. Right from day one. That would just be great if he was a day one starter. I don't know if he can do it, but it would be sweet if he was a day one starter and we had him, Jalen Smith, and Sean Lee out there, because I really feel like he's going to be good. I was sour on having him at 19, but the more I look at him, I feel like he's really soaking up Dallas and the leadership and just the responsibility. I just feel like he's going to really grasp that, and he's going to be a player for us. I think he's going to be a player for us, dog. I think our rookie class is going to be good. Gallup is going to be good for us, too.
Yes,
Gallup is
indeed.
going to be good for us. Schultz is going to be sneaky. Connor Williams, I think he's going to I was listening to Brian Broaddus. I hope I ain't talking too much, but I was
No, no,
listening
you
to
good. I'm listening. I'm soaking all this stuff in, fam.
I was listening to Brian Broaddus, and he was talking about Connor Williams. I had kind of said this myself that I love Connor Williams, but he's not one of the stoutest guys like Ron Larry was. That's why you could really see us move when we were doing sweeps and we were doing traps and counters because he could move people. I think Connor Williams is more athletic than Ron Larry is as far as getting to the spot, but he may have some problems with some of those 320, 340 guys. But I think he's still going to be good. And the longer he plays on that line, he's just going to grow. I just feel like it was a really good rookie class. I was kind of suspect on the beginning, but I'm allowed to say I can change. I like it. I like the core we have. I like the coaches we have. I just want to see Garrett take it to the next level. I'm going to try to back him. I'm going to say, come on, Garrett, because we have the team, and it's just ready to go full go. As long as we stay relatively injury-free, and Zeke is going to have a freaking monster year.
Yes, indeed, man. I think that all what you said with that, it's going to be explosive, guys. And hey, size do matter when you're talking about linebacker. When Chris Richard was talking about, I want to have the opposition to think before they make those passes, right? When you got a guy that's 6'4.5" or 6'5", and as big as he is, I think he's like 240. 245, 257, something like that, and this explosive can fly out to the ball, that is going to make you realize and say to yourself, you saw, I think you said on one of your episodes, Big Game James, that if you really just look at Sean Lee, he's not that big, burly, like not a big guy,
Right.
He looked like an average guy that you bump into at Kroger's or something, Walmart.
Right.
So, but when you see LVE, you're sitting there saying, okay, all right, I got to
He
make a
does
business
something.
decision. You know what I mean?
He look like he plays something. When you
He
see
plays
LVE,
something.
looks like
Yeah.
when you see him up in the street, you play football because you see his neck. So you got to play football with that neck, and you 6'4.5". You every bit of almost 6'5", almost like the Rolando McClain. I don't know if he's a thumper like that, but he does make plays. When I was watching some highlights of him, he will stick you and put you in the ground. You know how Rolando McClain, we loved him. Like I said, When we got McClain, I was excited. I knew he was a goofy, but I was just praying he'd keep his mind together for a few games for us, because I knew once he got in that lineup with us, he changed our
Right.
whole defense because of the size and the presence that he brought in the middle. He changed the whole game in the middle. When we had him in the middle, you felt more secure about the run game because you had somebody in that middle that could stuff it.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to Brandon Newkirk for making the donation.
Shout out to everybody on
organization.
Silver and Blue. Shout out to everybody who's
indeed.
listening. Shout out to everybody who takes their time. What's up, everybody? Jessica, producer G, Rodney, Dante, whoever's listening. What's up, baby?
Yes, indeed. He says, shout out to Big Game James, looking like the Black Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, I like that.
That damn Ben, hashtag, he hashtagging that boy.
That damn Ben.
Belly Irving needs to go, he need to get off that, with that cornball-ish. Yeah, this is the thing. I heard from a bird, and I ain't going to give my resources away, and I hate to just put this out there for everybody.
Okay.
David Irving might not play at all this year.
That's what I was hearing too. I was hearing that he wasn't going to be around the facility and that he was going to be suspect for the year.
And it's not that what you think it is
Right.
as far as the substance abuse. It's not what you think it is. It's not that green.
I don't think it, I mean, you know, I was thinking about it yesterday, but if he might not even play, you just might have to treat him. You can cut him, but why don't you just treat him like the Rolando McClain and just treat him like, give him a Rolando McClain deals? I mean, everybody knew, you knew when you got McClain, he was irresponsible. Right. You knew you couldn't trust him. Did anybody ever believe when McClain got with us, you could trust him? No, you didn't. So that's why Dallas didn't either. That's why they gave him 1-year deals, $3 million, probably incentives. You get more if you play, because we don't believe you're probably going to play the whole year. So we're going to make these deals. So do David Irving the same way. If you keep him on the roster and just give him 1-year deals, because obviously ain't nobody else going after him. They dangled him and nobody bit. Is that not correct?
I think we probably was too greedy with the.
We might have been greedy, but nobody really coming after him right now. And like I said, Kansas City Chiefs gave him away for nothing.
Now hindsight is 20/20, of course. But would you do a heads up, straight up trade? David Irving for Earl Thomas.
Hell yeah, because that's problems gone.
And wisdom and experience there.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I would do that in a heartbeat, but guess what? Seattle ain't taking on that because they know them problems too. That if you're Seattle, right? Would that make sense to you to do that?
Well, if Seattle at the time, they're probably looking at it like, look, I got Malik McDowell, and then I already have the guy that's from Alabama. I think they have that guy on the inside, and we sprinkle in David Irving. We got Legion of Booms 2.0 back again.
But you know what? I take that back because it seems like problem players can go to Seattle and change.
Frank Clark, yeah, they can just
Frank
change.
Clark, not just this Clark Bennett. I mean, they got plenty of players that not plenty. I'm not going to say that, but they had players that had the so-called attitudes that they go to there, and they succeed. So maybe David Irving, if they got a straight up trade, he probably maybe could get his stuff together, because I definitely can tell you Pete Carroll's a better coach than Jason Garrett.
Oh yeah, man, 10 times twice.
And I think he relates better. I think Pete Carroll. I think the reason why they're successful, in my opinion, over there is because he is a player's coach per se. But I feel like he doesn't play around, and they give him disrespect. I feel like they do respect him, and that's why they play for him. And I feel like he gives them their respect as well. And that goes a long way in the football world with these guys.
No doubt, man. And I'm going to just give a quick shout out to those that's on my YouTube panel or YouTube chat box. Juice21, shout out to you. Craig English, Joseph Hirsch, Patel, shout out to you. Almighty Bones. They said no Dak Ninja. He said that they didn't get no notification. So it is what it is. The YouTube Illuminati is just trying to hold us down. But we're going to still party, baby. All over my body.
Illuminati. I like that one.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Voch Lombardi. You know, I got that from him. He used to always say the YouTube Illuminati.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going on.
Yes, indeed. For them not to give the notification to the nation. You guys know that I love the notification squad, and I always got to give out a shout out to the first person that made wood or laid the wood down here in the chat box. Lazy Dallas Cowboys Production was the first person in the mix, and Howell the third. Come on, man, you gotta step it up. You in second place, bruh. And David B, let's go. He's in third place. Hey, Next time, just jump in a little sooner, right? A little quicker now. What's good now? What we was talking about the David Irving. What's your overall feeling on this guy though?
I mean, like I said, I just feel like he's like Orlando McClain. He's not
Mm-hmm.
anybody I can trust anymore. He is supremely talented. He's still young. Yes, it's getting annoying. Yes, it's getting old. And yes, you could say in your heart, cut him. But you know what? I've seen a lot of these other top-notch teams that don't do that. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of the New England's, and they see a super talented guy. They're willing to work with him. Yeah, they might get rid of some players, but like a
Mm-hmm.
Chandler Jones, but they were doing them in contract things. But a guy who is cheap to them, yes, they will use and squeeze everything, little everything they can get out of a cheap kid. They will
Mm-hmm.
do that. And David Irving's cheap to us. He's not costing us us. He's not costing the Cowboys any money.
True
So
that.
since he's not costing the Cowboys any money, we don't have to sit there and say cut him. He's not costing the Dallas Cowboys anything, and you can continue to lowball him because of what's going on with him. So in essence, it's not hurting us to keep him on the roster. If he plays, that's great. If he plays 12 games, why would we cut him now? If he could play 12 games, let him play 12 games on a cheap deal, and then guess what? Give him another cheap 1 year deal, and that's it. You mess
That's
up,
it.
you don't get paid. That's your fault.
You know what? You know what? You're right. And the only thing that we can get from this is like take a hit on the PR thing, right? And Jerry Jones know how to
We already
maneuver
dealt with
this way.
that.
And this is the other thing too as well. Somebody said in the comment section that it could be CTE, and out of respect of CTE research and development, I'm gonna take a pause on this and say, yeah, it could be
It
because
could be.
we just don't know. He had a
Yeah.
concussion, right?
Yes, he
He had
did.
a concussion at the end of last year,
Hmm.
and then this is when we already know that like before this, but we can say this guy been playing football at least since middle school, right?
Right.
So CTE is still something that they trying to do research on, and looking at his decisions, it could be a good case of CTE and we just pretty much talking about a guy that can't get right because of he playing football, playing something that he loves, and it always it can be something that can trickle down the line, and we can
Hmm.
be looking like idiots talking about a guy who have CTE.
Yeah. Well, you never know. That's why you have to find the diagnosis. There he is coming in with
And
the flame.
yay, I rise like the phoenix.
He comes in
Yes.
with that I'm gonna call you the hot boy because that's what that. Hey, right quick. That's what the Dallas Cowboys defensive line meant to say. That's what they calling themselves, the hot boys. I didn't
Hot
get to
boys.
get in deep, but they're calling themselves the hot boys. They call them Baby, Lil Wayne, all them guys. Who's
Uh-huh.
gonna get the most sacks this year? So that's one of their names, the defense, hot boys. Remember it.
Hot
What's up,
boys.
DDP?
What's up, guys?
Diamond Dallas.
Rough night, but I'm here. Said
I
I'd make
like
it
it.
in. I'm here.
I like it.
Yes, man. Hey,
Ain't got
better
a
to be
Whataburger
seen
drink.
and not viewed. That's what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
here, you in the mix. You are live on the
Yep.
nation. What's good though, man?
Not much, man. Got through all that stuff. Fun times with that blood infection and whatnot.
You might want to give everybody the backdrop, the backstory.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know what, if anything, you guys would have mentioned on that. So I was in New Braunfels last weekend floating the river, and while getting at the end when getting out of the river or whatever, I got bumped by someone, slipped, and just scraped the hell out of the outside of my right leg. Like, looks like basically road rash from the knee to the ankle, pretty much. And I'd been trying to clean it, especially knowing it was river water, and I'm fairly certain of a bunch of the stuff that floats in that river. And it basically just kept getting worse. And I noticed last night when I wrapped up my show with Cam that I could barely put any weight on it suddenly. And then by midday today, I was like, okay, now like the whole leg feels hot. It's all swollen. My ankle was like baseball size swelling. So I was like, okay, something's up here. So I've been all night at a urgent care getting blood work done and getting ungodly huge needles shoved into me to do some, it's not penicillin, I forget what it was, but some max dosage of something. And now I'm gonna have to do like 10 days of heavy duty antibiotics to try and flush all of my system back out, because apparently I was right on the cusp of being a very serious case of this. So
As long as it's not blood clots, man, you be all right, man.
yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
not Kayvon Frazier, although I think his wasn't that it was clotting. I think his problem was that it wasn't clotting.
Right.
But yeah, no, nothing quite like that. Just fun swelling and pain and all of that.
Yeah, a lot of people that's in the chat box, they showing you a lot of love, man. Yeah, I
Oh,
see a
yeah.
lot of people
Thank you,
saying
guys.
DDP, DDP. Hey, make that a hashtag, guys. When y'all put DDP out there, hashtag DDP. So when it goes out to the world, that all that somebody have to do is type in hashtag DDP, and it comes right to this man's page. And also, they said ice and elevation. This is from Joseph. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Sandberg. Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna have all that fun treatment and everything. I'm hoping it'll be under control now. Yeah, it got crazy red and everything. All that. Yeah, it real fun to deal with all night, but thankfully it should be taken care of now. Yeah, man, the shots too. Like I said, think about like in a cartoon when someone says that like, oh, like I'm afraid of shots and like the ungodly size of the needle they portray. It's kind of like it kind of was like that. And I was just, she's like, all right, I got to give you 2 of these shots. I was like, oh, 2 of them. All right. I was like, where's it going? Arm, hip? And they're like, yeah, no, like your hip. I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. No, like the actual hip bone. Like, oh no, that's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. One on.
Yeah,
on each
I saw
side.
that needle. You know, when your wife get that when she get pregnant and when she had
Oh, yeah, the epidural.
That
Yep.
doggone needle there. I said, Lord, don't you move, because they say if you move, you become paralyzed or something like that. That's a
Yep.
long needle, man. Shout out to all the ladies that had kids out there, or or can birth
Yep.
a child and got to go through that. But
Thanks as well to Annette and to Italian Cowboy, showing some love there. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, indeed, boy. Hey, so what are your expectations for this training camp, DDP?
I think there are going to be a lot of really good battles. I'm curious to see. It sounds like we've already kind of seen some interesting lineups as far as the receivers are concerned, where we've had Tavon Austin and Cole Beasley lining up outside, whereas we've had Hearns working inside, which, as we've mentioned before, is more to his strength as well. I'm really excited to see this. Like, this is a very, very criticized, heavily criticized receiving core, and now we're going to get a chance to see just how versatile they can be, and if Dallas can be a little bit more creative with them, and just giving different looks, right? Because that's something that the last couple of years we've been so vanilla in terms of how we approach things, that whether it was, who, not singling out Dez, but opposing cornerbacks in general have said they know like one of 3 things to look for, and they can immediately recognize the tell to know what's coming their way, pretty much as far as the receivers are concerned.
Hey,
Let
me ask you this though.
yeah.
When you were saying that, did you see that out there on practice? Because I didn't get a chance to watch none of the highlights. They had Tavon Austin and Cole Beasley line on to the outside.
At different times, not like they were out there at the same time, I don't think. But I saw
Who's on
photos
the
with
opposite
them
side
lined
of
up
the
that
field?
way.
Could you see the opposite side of the field?
I don't recall that portion of it. I just remember seeing the photos of it where it was pointing out where they were lined up in particular.
That's nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. So the key word for me in the receiving core is versatile, because I think that's what they're striving to be. They don't have a prototypical X receiver or anything like that, so they're going to mix things up and get creative, and that's the best thing they can do. So I'm curious to see that, and then I'm curious to see, of course, how some of these young guys like LVE and I want to see how Jalen Smith progresses too. I think those are my 2 most curious positions to watch in training camp, are the receiving core and then the linebacking core.
I can't wait for this to happen. James, what's good, man?
What up?
Man,
I'm just letting DDP have the flow.
Yeah, but DDP. Yes, he did, man. I like the aspect what he talked about when he's saying the guys line up onto the outside. I didn't get a chance to watch none of the highlights, guys, so I can't wait to. This is how dedicated we are. We want to do this show.
As soon as the show's over, we'll be up tonight posting highlights. I know you're gonna be cutting videos at 3 in the morning. I'll probably be posting one of the videos at 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be up there moving and shaking and seeing as much as we can. Like I said, I'm excited for next week because, I am excited. It's my first training camp in California. So, and I think it's coming to an end. If I'm not correct, it's only like a couple more years, then it's going to be in Dallas for good, I believe. So, I don't think it's forever. I might be wrong, but I heard rumblings like they were going to stay in Texas because people are frustrated how it's always in California. But this is my first one. I'm excited. I'm gonna be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One of those days they won't practice, but they are having the blue and white scrimmage Sunday, and I'll be able to be at that one too. So I'm gonna be really excited about that blue and white scrimmage, so we can really see those guys in some live action going against each other. Actually get to see what's really going on. My battles bouncing off DDP with his linebacker and receivers. My battle is the receiving core, but I'm be honest with you, I'm a defensive guy. I could care less about offense. Just run the damn ball, complete some passes. Let's get some touchdowns. I don't care about offense because I want defense to shut your ass down. I want defense to be all up in your grill, and that's what's frustrated me all these years because we haven't had a defense that's been holding it down. So I'm interested to see those linebackers, as DDP said. The first three, I want to see LVE catch up. I want to see who's going to be in this depth. Damian Wilson is going to be Marsh Lillard, Joe Thomas. I mean, is Covington going to come in out of nowhere? I want to see this other free agency. Your boy Kyle Kuro, I believe, that's converted to linebacker. I think he's number 41. I seen him out there. He's got some good size. Can he convert from safety to linebacker? I want to see these cornerbacks. I want to see this Jordan Lewis. I want to see my dog jump in there. Is he? What's going to happen in that slot? Because I feel like Byron Jones is going to be the guy. And I want to see these practices with Byron Jones. Everybody's been talking about Byron Jones. He's a better corner than safety. Yeah, I believe that. But I don't think he's a dog corner. And we're going to see how he does. I think receivers can still get separation from him. And I want to see what he's going to do. Now, the thing with Kayvon Frazier, now the big thing, when you see DDP, came with the Trey Boston thing, safety being signed. Now you got Kayvon Frazier with the injury. Now we are more depleted, and you got undrafted. Even though we love the Robinson kid from Oregon, even though you love Cam Kelly from San Diego State, they are undrafted rookies, and you can't put too much stock in that. So now you may want to look at a veteran because Kayvon Frazier is an iffy, and you don't have that much depth at the safety position. Now does the Earl thing ring really, really loud? I follow Bobby Belt on Twitter, and he's heavy with Cowboys. He's heavy, and a lot of people respect him. And this dude is saying he's betting his damn life, his life that Earl Thomas is going to be a Cowboy. Now, I don't know if you're playing jokes with that, but that's what he said on his Twitter.
Betting his life, boy.
I posted it on my page.
Oh my God! But this is the thing, and Brian Broader said the same thing. He said he knows the general manager for the Seattle Seahawks. Yes. He know him. He was his understudy. So he learned from Brian Broaddus of all things. Brian Broaddus said this is the reason why he really wanted Earl Thomas on his team. If we already had a veteran guy, he would probably say, okay, we'll back. But he said what Earl Thomas bring, because it's something about Sean Lee. We know for sure that it's hard for Sean Lee to play 16 weeks. And you remember when Sean Lee goes out, this whole defense just looks lost. But he was saying that what Earl Thomas is like an insurance policy, that he would still line up Cheeto Bear-Woozier together.
Right,
he would still inform Jordan Lewis, no, I want you to be a little bit closer on this play. This guy known or the tendency to cut his routes off. Or he would actually work with Jeff Heath, take the better angle on this aspect of the field. So this is where the hash mark will be. Whatever it may be, what Earl Thomas can bring, that is what he can bring. There's wisdom, knowledge, and leadership that we just miss. We just don't have outside of a Sean Lee.
Yeah. Well, on that Trey Boston thing, I wanted to chime in real quick. So I did look into him a little bit more, and it sounds like with him the biggest problem has been consistency. He'll have a stretch of games where for a few weeks he plays at a really high level. That's where he'll get a lot of his picks and stuff, but then it's like the next several weeks, it's like he suddenly can't remember proper tackling or something like that, and he starts giving up bigger plays. That's what's been hurting him, and that's why he went from 3 years with Carolina to a 1-year deal to now another 1-year deal, going from the Chargers to the Cardinals.
Did you just explain Jeff Heath? Because that is exactly what Jeff Heath does.
Heath never got us 5 picks in a year.
Right. He never got us 5 picks, but he shows inconsistencies at times. But he shows those. He did
sort of get us 2 in one playoff game, though.
Right. Was it 4 altogether?
I'm still bitter over that second one.
They called the whistle. They pulled away from him.
Yep, because of Mo Claiborne on the other side.
The NFL Illuminati.
I think he's been our last. I think our last 3 or 4 years, he's been our leader in our interceptions all those years.
And if you sprinkle in somebody like a Earl Thomas, that number can grow.
Well, it's
Even
definitely
more
gonna. It definitely can grow. Just like you said, I bet the biggest thing Earl's going to bring. He's a dog. We know that he's a dog, but the leadership, the mind, the brain, the oneness that he already has with Chris Richard, the camaraderie of, just like you said, if Sean Lee falls, gets hurt, we don't feel scared like, oh, here we go again. Now we can look at it like, okay, Earl can still get those guys together, still can put them in the right positions, still can make the right plays, but also that's why you drafted the LVE. Hopefully he stays healthy, but that's why you got another linebacker who's got size. So if Lee goes out, we don't instantly go small and then we get pushed around. How many times have we seen it? Sean Lee goes out, we start getting gashed up the middle. Sean Lee goes out, they start hitting the running backs out the flats. Sean Lee goes out, they just start killing us with sweeps, counters.
Aaron Jones, that's all I can think of.
It's like night and day. It's like literally as soon as he goes out, the defense goes to hell, and it shouldn't do that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they got Chris Richard as well, because you have a guy in here who's not going to kind of crack over under pressure. Because as I seen, things that stood out to me was when I watched that Giants highlight and Sean Lee was admonishing the coach and telling the coach what to do. And when I hear about coaches saying they just let you play in this position, that's where you were. You just kind of freestyled it. Okay, that's alarming to me. So that just tells me we were outcoached a lot of games. And when we played those good teams or them teams like with Aaron Rodgers, they were going to eventually beat us because of the coaching. They knew our faults. They knew what we couldn't do. So they knew to attack those faults. And that's why they beat us in those games.
Yes, indeed, man. Coaching. So that's the biggest target that I'm seeing out there. Like, we really need to target and focus on how can his coaching staff elevate everything. How can they improve his coaching staff?
So what are your thoughts then on when in the press conference yesterday, when I think it was Steven who was asked basically the last time the Cowboys had talks with Seattle about acquiring Earl Thomas, and him saying that nothing has happened since the draft, and then you hear other stuff saying Seattle's now trying to be firm and say that they want a first for Earl Thomas. What do you make of that, guys?
I seen that story too, where they said Dallas had no contact with him since the draft. They haven't really said nothing. I kind of believe it the way Stephen Jones acts. I mean, I listened to him in his press conference. He's like, pumping Kayvon Frazier, pumping Jeff Heath, and he's like, if something
Xavier Woods,
if something presents itself, basically he's saying if it's in our best interest, then we'll look at it. But if it's not in our best interest, we're not going to do it. And if Seattle is coming like, well, we want a first, just like you just said, it's not happening. No. Dallas is not giving up no damn first, and maybe a second now. I feel like they're just going to look at third now because of the way it's going. You know what I'm saying? But who has the most leverage? I think the Kayvon Frazier, to me, kind of is opening doors now. Because if let's say he really goes out, I mean, we are depleted. I mean, I'm not feeling good about free agent rookies back there. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't care if they're 6'4" or 6'3". I don't care about that. That don't make you good because you're 6'3", 220 pounds. You need to know how to play the game. And these guys know how to coach these offenses, and they see weaknesses, and they know rookies. And if you've never seen this before, you've never seen this kind of offense, they're going to attack you. And then once they catch you in a weakness, they're going to come attack you every play. How many times have we seen it time and time again? One of these great quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, once they find you, they're going to come after you. And they're not going to stop until you stop it.
I think that sometimes with the decisions that some of the like Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, they get so high-minded and they get so much in their ways, and they feel like, okay, you remember when Jerry Jones said Brandon Whedon throw the best balls, and also with other things that Jerry Jones liked to spit out. And Stephen Jones got a little bit of that in him too as well. But the writing is on the wall. Either you're trying to win now or you're trying to rebuild. There's nothing in between. So in order for us to be right now, if you can say, okay, In order for us for the win, we have to do Philly type of moves. Philadelphia made moves. They didn't sit back and think. They didn't sit back and hold their players hostage. They said, okay, you want to walk the wide receiver kid that they got from last year. I forgot his name, and they went and got a Mike Wallace. You know, they didn't hold on to their guys. They made moves. They went and got a Run Darby. They said, okay, we need to figure out what can be a guy that can stop and slow down Dez Bryant. They went and got a Run Darby. They said, okay, how can we stop and slow down Ezekiel Elliott? Just don't think that they didn't get these guys for nothing. They went and got a Jurgen. They went and got another guy, Haloti Nadi. You know what I'm saying? That's from last year. Of course, they got Haloti Nadi this year. So you got to figure out a way. How can I dominate my division first, and then make a proper plan, and then attack on those plans? And then on top of that, when it's time for you to let the guy go, just let him go. Don't hold on to these guys. Don't do that. Anybody can think of that guy name for the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me know. The wide receiver guy. I think his name is Torrey. I think Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith, yeah, that's who you're talking about.
You're right. I mean,
he's whack.
He was whack, right?
He's gone now.
He's gone now. They just got him and they got rid of him.
1 year deal, right?
Trey Burton.
They traded him, I thought.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Oh, okay,
yeah.
But I'm saying you wouldn't keep him anyway.
Yeah, Trey Burton was one of the tight ends, a young developing tight end. They got rid of him. He's not even on the team. They just moved on. You know,
because you know why? Because this is what they do, and a lot of the top teams are going to do it. They get so much competition. It's like they don't have to wait on you getting your act together. We got 3 guys better, just as good as you, so we can afford to get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? Because they got plentiful of players. I mean, they draft good. I can't hate on them. They do draft good. People need to understand this division is going to be tough. I can't stand the Redskins. I feel like we're still going to beat them, but they're going to be tougher. The division is going to be tough this year. There's been good drafts in the NFC East the last 2-3 years. I feel like Washington's had some good drafts, especially on the defensive side on that front. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Giants had some decent drafts. Ingram was a good draft, that tight end. He's a monster.
True
that. You know what I mean? So, and they got Hernandez over there. He's going to help. You know what I mean? So they've had some good drafts. The NFC East is going to be tough. And just like you said, Law, we have to win the division first. That's first and foremost. We haven't had a bad record in the division the last few years. So I feel real good about us still conquering.
Right, 5-1.
That,
right.
Yeah, 5-1. The year before that, we almost what?
We only lost 2. We only lost to the Giants.
To the Giants, but we still were the dogs. And then 2014, you saw what we did. Only reason why we fell off in 2015 for real was with those major injuries. Romo, you know damn well if Romo wasn't hurt that whole year, he would have balled out.
True that.
He would have balled out. It was when he got hurt is when it was a wrap.
But it's just what it is, man. I'm just saying you don't go out there and sell the farm for free agencies, but somehow I'm looking at other teams that won the Super Bowl. You know, they went out and made those moves during free agent. I mean, just name me a team that didn't make the move, and I'll sit and wait.
Yeah,
that was aggressive. Yes, I mean that's the motto. That's why they win. They're in win now mode. They're not in that we'll see in 2 or 3 years. They're in that we need a Super Bowl now, today. So we're going to get these players right now, and then we'll figure it out after next year. Or we're going to hit you with a 1-year deal, but next year, guess what? You're probably not going to be with us, but we're going to use you for what we need so we can get this Super Bowl. And I feel what you're saying with that, and I feel like we are slow-footing maybe that process because we're like, we're okay. We're building for the future. Stop having that building for the future crap, and we need a Super Bowl.
Just like let me go back to this, like the Denver Broncos. Peyton Manning had enough talent to get them to the Super Bowl, and they was embarrassed, right? Let's be honest. They was embarrassed by the Seattle Seahawks. That following offseason, they could have just said, you know what, I'm going to trust my younger guys, and we're going to get back there, and we're going to whoop their tail. No, what they did, Big Game James.
They went out and got your boys.
They went and got Talib, Aqib, whatever you say this man's name. They went and got Tupac. They went and got Biggie. They went and got a whole bunch of slew of people and said, look, this defense finna be nasty.
Yeah, I mean, most teams do that. I mean, Ravens, I mean, you saw teams like when they feel like they're in that win now, they maybe have that 1 or 2 players or they feel like they are right there, they attack it. It seems like we are always like, we'll be all right. We're building for the future. We got this young core. We want to see what they're going to do rather than maybe you say, we getting an Earl Thomas because we ain't waiting for that crap no more. Get Earl Thomas. We trying to win the Super Bowl. Earl Thomas is here. So that would change the mindset in what essence what you're saying, where we be aggressive, like forget all that. Earl Thomas is here. We won a Super Bowl. We'll worry about that deal later.
What did the LA just did? The Rams off season.
They said bump it.
They finna try to win now. You think they gonna say, okay, let's let our guys develop. Let's sit back and let's see the.
They got to figure out. Yeah, they got to figure out though the whole thing with Donaldson. Yeah. What would you give up if you're Dallas right now if you could get him? Because he's not right now. His talk is he's not playing another down without a new deal because they paid Cooks. Who all did they pay? They paid like 3 guys: Gurley, Cooks, and there was one more. I thought
Cooks got his bread before.
Yeah. I feel like there was one more guy that they also broke bank for, and so he's looking at that and he's like, "Nah, man, I'm the best defensive tackle in football." So yeah, man, I don't know.
Not just the best defensive tackle in football, one of the best players in the NFL.
Yes. But you know what they're doing, and this is what I'm thinking. This is what they probably do because he's going to quarterback money.
Yes,
but they got Wade Phillips. One thing, what's his name? Wade Phillips, right? Bum Phillips' son, right? Wade Phillips, the coach for the Cowboys, used to be. They got him. They're gonna look at him and say, okay, can you coach Sue? Can you develop Sue?
That's why they got Sue.
And then we're gonna squeeze this guy out because he want quarterback money, and we ain't finna pay him quarterback money.
Right.
That's why they got Sue, so they could probably ring him and then draft somebody in the draft next year.
Yep. And the fan was talking about this in the hypothetical earlier today, 105.3 The Fan here in Dallas. They were presenting the hypothetical of if you're Dallas, if you wanted to take that same like win now thing, what all would you be willing to give up to go get him? And their hypotheticals were starting with 2 firsts and like a second or something like that. And that's the assumption that you acquire him and then basically break bank paying him.
That'd be foolish to give up 2 firsts and a second and then also pay the man. What I'm saying is they could have did that in the draft. If they'd have drafted right, went on ahead and got a defensive tackle. They could have moved up in the draft and got a dominant defensive tackle like who's that guy, Vita Vea, or move up a little bit. Who was another nasty defense? I would rather for them to do it in that aspect because if you'd have did it in the draft, you have 5 years with that player, regardless of how you look at it. If you did it in the draft, not saying that you can draft it, everybody can go out there and draft. What's this guy's name? Donald? What?
Donaldson.
Donaldson.
Donald.
Aaron Donald.
I don't know why I was putting Son on.
He's not just everywhere.
Because you think about the Mavericks, James Donaldson when he used to play with the Mavericks.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, but you just don't.
I agree. The price they were talking was way too expensive. I just was kind of amazed that's what they were throwing out there. I mean, the fact that they considered that like a starting point, I was like, I'm already out.
Right.
Like I would love having him on the team, but if you're talking about giving him this massive deal after giving up that many assets, especially when it seems like we actually know what we're doing in the draft again, I don't like that idea at all. I feel like you can build a strong team around that.
So
and
you wouldn't give up 2 firsts for though? You wouldn't give up 2 firsts for him though?
No, this is how you got to flip it though.
2 firsts would be hard, but at the same time, it's not just that. It's that you didn't have to.
You got.
It's that you didn't have to pay him, right?
But
that you have to give.
This is what you got to do. You got to flip it. You got to flip this thing into another angle. You got to look at what the Patriots do right now. Patriots have D-Law contract, right? Let's say, for instance, D-Law played for the Patriots. They will figure out a way to flip the D-Law and get at least either 2 seconds, a third, or maybe a first and a third for D-Law. We don't have the cojones to do that. We're not going to do that. If I say trade D-Law for a first and a third or for 2 seconds and a fourth, they're going to look at me and say, Law Nation, you are foolish. You crazy. You mean to tell me you're going to take 14 sacks off the field? That's a defensive end. You can't find defensive ends everywhere. But to me personally, D-Law is no near close of a Chandler Jones, and then we don't have nobody who had the production levels of Jamie Collins. But what did the Patriots do? They had Jamie Collins. They got rid of him, and they also got rid of the guy that I just talked about, Chandler Jones. So they didn't.
But they also have a Tom Brady.
They do have a Tom Brady.
That can get you a little bit more both. Can you not say that?
That do buy you a little bit more real estate. But this is the thing. Did they flip their other quarterback? Who's 7-0 for the 49ers?
Garoppolo. They didn't want. You know why that happened. He didn't want to do that. You know he didn't want to do that. because you know Garoppolo about to shine.
If Garoppolo shines, that speaks volumes.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
You know he is. Everybody sees it. I mean, I don't think he's like the greatest ever, but like he's a good quarterback. He was good. There's a reason why Belichick wanted him. There's a reason why he didn't. You know Brady felt some kind of way. You know he did, and then now it comes out Garoppolo talking about I know I was better than him. You know what I'm saying? So Garoppolo is talking mad cash tonight with them Niners. So Belichick saw something good in him. He didn't want to let that go. So, but at the end of the day, he still had a Tom Brady, so that still gives you probably more leeway to. I'm gonna get ready to get. All right, I'll get rid of this player because I have one of the greatest players ever that's gonna keep me in games. If I got a young quarterback or this and that, I may not trade that pick because I may need it because I don't really know. What thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. Yeah, I agree, but I still think that the way they will and deal, that is the new. I think that the Eagles took a page from that, and I think that the other teams are going to take a look at how the Patriots just don't fall in love with their players, and I think that's the new philosophy.
Let me ask you this: and if we had Carson Wentz, would you feel more comfortable? Like, would you feel more comfortable if you had Carson Wentz
than a Dak Prescott that we have right now? No, I don't feel comfortable with Carson Wentz because we don't know how he probably started tap dancing like the late, great Gregory Hines when people started dancing at his feet. I don't know how he's going to play year 3. And to me personally, a known commodity, I know for sure that I got at least 22 wins from Dak Prescott, and I can say with the first 8 games that he looks still pretty good to me. It's just that the Ezekiel Elliott aspect of it and the off the field issues that the team on and off the field and all this stuff with the coaching staff, with the front offensive line, those are things that came into place. So I do know that the Dak haters are going to be like, nah, Law, Dak can't hit water if he fell off the boat. You can't see the bigger picture. But I'm looking at a player that can win us games if we still have a better offensive line like 2016. If you have a full healthy Ezekiel Elliott, then I think that I can rest assured that Dak Prescott is going to take care of the ball. He's not going to throw crazy passes, and we can still win games. But my only thing is, we were talking about this I think earlier. My only reservation is I don't think Ezekiel Elliott gets to the second contract.
You don't think so? You don't think Dallas signs him?
I think they're going to squeeze him a little bit, especially if he have a subpar year this year. And I'm not saying that he will. I think Ezekiel Elliott still can get 1,700 yards plus. But if he have a subpar year this year, or if he have any off the field issues, I don't think he'll make it to his second contract.
I mean, you could see it happening. DeMarco Murray was a dog with us. I knew he wasn't going to get that money. When he started asking for that money, I knew we weren't going to pay him. And Zeke is going to cost a lot of money because I don't think he's going to have a subpar year. Not saying you think he is, but I think he's going to have a big year. And it's just going to make it even harder to be. Once he has another big year, I'm already be envisioning like him not being here. I thought he could be, but he has another big year. He's going to want big money. And then you see Todd Gurley getting that
have
money.
A big year this year. This will be what it'll be going into his 4th year.
So then they'll be talking about that option, which they're automatically going to lock him up to, so that give him enough time to negotiate or see what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we'll let the fans speak.
That's why they got that option
speak.
out there.
Yeah, Nation, do y'all go and pay Ezekiel Elliott or you don't? Let us know in the comment section.
Would you pay Ezekiel Elliott?
I've chimed in on this before, so I was just
tell
letting
me.
you guys
I never hear. I want to know. Would you pay Ezekiel Elliott? Either one of y'all. Would you pay Ezekiel Elliott? Second deal.
I got to see where it stands, but I think you don't. Honestly, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that you're already paying the top offensive line in the league. You already have 3 guys on that offensive line that are the top of the league as far as their positional pay. You have another who I think is in the top 3 at his position. I think your offensive line overall is using, what is it? It was something like 30% of the total cap or something just on that line. So you have the best running offensive line in the league as far as your scheme goes. You can find quality somewhere in the first 4 rounds. You can find a guy like, who's that guy that went off last year for the Chiefs? His name just slipped from my mind.
Hunt?
Yes, Kareem Hunt. You can find a guy like that in the first 4 rounds. Now, he might not be pound pound for pound Zeke, and I don't think Kareem Hunt is by any means, but you can still find a guy who is very good and will work very well in your scheme. And with this line, and then with that money you save, not having to suddenly pay $12 million for a running back, because instead you're paying a rookie deal to a guy, might even be like a third or fourth round rookie, potentially, depending on what you choose to do in the draft. That savings you can now apply to your defense, or you can apply towards getting a significant receiver to bring in, whether it's a free agent or something like that. Like there's a lot more you can do. Now, if the alternative is to say, hey, the money that you were going to pay Zeke, now you're just going to pay that to Dak. No, I don't want that. If I'm not re-signing Zeke, I want to allocate that money to make the team better, not just to pay someone who's here and say, here, you're like the face of this, let's just give it to you, because the quarterback typically gets the most money anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. If you don't do that and you don't sign Zeke, you better believe your quarterback better be good, because if you're going to do like the Denver Bronco theory, like they did when they had like 4 or 5 years where they had straight 1,000-yard backs and they just kept recycling them every year and they were coming out of nowhere. Mike Anderson, Orlandis Gary, Clint Portis, all those guys, they were just recycling, and they were really relying on that offensive line with that good quarterback play, and they were just recycling running backs like it wasn't nothing. So that would be the theory. We did do it when Darren McFadden came in and he got those 1,000 yards. So it's definitely possible, but that quarterback play better be very good.
Mm-hmm.
What does Russell Wilson play post beast mode?
What is his pay? I can look it up.
Not play. How's his play out there on the field? Did he?
I know digress? He had the. I think after beast mode he had that struggle year, came bounce back last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because beast mode sat out a year, so yeah, he had 1 year where he was down a little bit, and then he bounced back pretty well last year.
Last year bounced right back.
Monster. I mean, by all means necessary, you do need a running back that's just nasty like Ezekiel. You do need that running back. He is special. He's not an average running back. But if you look at the running back time span, lifespan in the NFL, one can argue and say you're not going to get 2016 Ezekiel Elliott in 2021, 2022. It'd just be remarkable if you can get anything like that. But he can prove us wrong. You up there. You saw Ezekiel Elliott play for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a different time, because I remember back in the day when you had running backs that come in the draft and they would get 8-9 years of 1,000, 1,400, 1,300, 1,400. You would see them get them years, and it's just like, even though they're saying they're bringing the running back, I don't feel like it's fully back. So it's hard for you to see now running backs having an 8-year career with a team getting 1,000. It's hard to see now because so much passing is going on. So much of the new wave offense is always changing. And the running back, you always need it, but I don't know if you're ever going to see those backs where they're just getting those 1,400-yard seasons every single year. And then, they're playing with that team. It's almost like NBA. That you play a few more years. These guys are signing shorter deals in the NFL now, longer too. Have you noticed that? Back in the day, we signed 10-year deals, 8-year deals. Now they're signing those 2-3-year deals. Now they're going with 1-year deals, bargaining on themselves. They're not signing the long-term deals anymore because those years are never being seen regardless. They used to sign those 8 and 10-year deals. They would get excited. 6 or 6 or those years you wasn't even going to see.
I think what happened here is that those longer deals, I think that those agents kind of caught on to it, and they said, okay, none of this stuff is real because the money's not guaranteed, you see. And, and that's why they're kind of like, okay, give me a shorter deal but guarantee the money and we'll make something happen. And I think that also, even though the NFL collectively is not hitting as hard as they used to back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, but I think players are bigger and faster and stronger now, and when they hit you, that collision rate, lower your chances of playing longer in the NFL. So we'll see, though. It's like one of the things we'll have to wait and see on Ezekiel Elliott. But shout out to Ezekiel Elliott. I really want him to show up and show out this year.
Yeah, absolutely. This offense and overall this team will go as Zeke goes. If he's doing it, if he's tearing it up and looking more like 2016 Zeke, this team will go far.
Yes, indeed. So shout out to Vaj Lombardi. I see you in the mix, man. Christopher Jones, Tyrone, Palmer. Thank you guys for tuning in to the nation. Appreciate you. Tyrone Church in the building too.
Looks like James' laptop just restarted, so it's just you and me holding down the fort for the moment.
No worries, man. Pretty much from here, we just can't wait for this whole week to go by and have more film out there so we can just take a real good look at what players' development, how Dak Prescott is going through his progressions, who's going to be like the standout, is always every year the standout player. Like, remember Andy Jones? He was one of those guys.
Yep.
And I think he's probably delivering milk at this point, but it is what it is, guys.
I think we'll have some good battles in training camp. I really do. The receiving core is not yet decided by any means. You're going to have like Terrence Williams going out there and kind of fighting for his job, I think. Right now, he's not even able to go at full. He is further along with his foot injury than like Malik Collins. But at the same time, he's got a lot of competition that he's going to be facing for it. And although he is the most established veteran guy, certainly for this team, I mean, Hearns in terms of career has about similar. Well, no, because T-Will's been in the league more than I think the 4 years that he has, obviously. So, yeah, he's the most veteran receiver in this bunch. But it's still a matter of what can you do on the field and can you stay healthy? And
right,
I don't know if he'll win that. It'll be a tough competition, and I think it was Broadus. It was either Broadus or someone for DallasCowboys.com, someone else, basically suggesting that Tavon, they think he is going to be listed as a receiver. And if that's the case, that's one more guy that you got to compete with, because before the word was that he was going to be a running back on the depth chart, and that was how you could sneak on an extra receiver, basically.
Yeah, that's something else, man. We're heading towards the final 5 minutes. So what are your thoughts altogether, DDP, on the running back core and the tight end?
For the running back core, I think they're pretty solid, honestly. Like, again, we've been talking a lot about how much better we think Zeke will be. I think that they're going to, offensively, I think they're going to accept that they have to be a little more creative with what they do, and that's not just how they line up the receivers, putting Tavon outside. They've said that they are going to expand Beasley's route tree this year. They're going to line him up outside a little bit. They're going to line up Tavon outside, move Hearns inside, outside as needed. I imagine he probably still plays mostly inside, but they're going to do that with the receivers. Don't be surprised if they finally do what I did an article and a video a while back for the site talking about how I want them to use Zeke in the passing game more. Not saying you have to go full Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh in terms of how they use him, but I would love to see them just to change it up a little bit to get him more involved, because if you really do have questions about Dak's down the field passing and accuracy and things like that, you can run something with Zeke and get still a dynamic athlete in open space. So that'll take maybe a little bit. Then if you're putting him in those situations, maybe that takes a smidge away from how many carries you give him. But after that, you got Rod Smith as well. And you're going to have Tavon Austin as well as a guy you can toss out there for that. So they're going to have options in this backfield, and I think this is a solid backfield. I feel better about this backfield than I have the last two when we had Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden as the backups. I know we also had Rod Smith, but he wasn't really getting carries then. What was the other one you asked besides running backs? Tight ends?
Tight ends, yeah. I think they're interchangeable with one, because Jameis Olawale, he can be that H back.
Yeah. Man, that's a guy we hadn't even talked much about. I think he is going to be an underrated addition as well. And I think that kind of works to his favor, that he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Good blocker. He was a tight end in college, so he can catch the ball. He had a 75-yard touchdown catch and run last year for the Raiders. So at least I think it was last year. It was either last year or the year before. But yeah, the dude can do a little something with it. If you put him in the right situation, he's going to be the fullback on this team. As for the tight ends themselves, Rico's the ultimate question mark. He looks like he's taking it seriously these days. That's great. He's going to need to, because this is a make or break year for him regarding the Cowboys and potentially his whole NFL career entirely. Dalton Schultz, I think, will ultimately take the job as the starter, but it might not happen in year one. You might see more of Swaim or Jarwin being kind of the starter for this team.
No doubt, man. That's some good stuff. So I can't wait to see how all this stuff gels. It's the first day, so we'll see. Just want to give a shout out to everybody that's in the Facebook panel. Calvin and Mercy, shout out to you two as well. And thank you guys for tuning in on that side. We're live on Dallas Prospect Show. Every legend was once a legend. Well, once a prospect. EBSN online. Shout out to you, Phantom, Big Game James, Page, and Silver and Blue Nation. We try to do this show pretty much every Thursday around this time, so hit that notification button. Don't forget to join the podcast too. It should be in the description box on our YouTube page. Feel free to go there and support the nation too as well. We have in the sections there where it says PayPal, Patreon. That's how you can help us out with productions and stuff like that, so that in the future we can fly out to these events like the Combine and fly out to the events like the Oxnards and wherever away games that may occur that's kind of close to us, that's reasonable, that we can go to. And shout out to the Facebook team all together, and the chat box on the YouTube, Texas Kid, Almighty Bones, D Will, TU, and DU, and Daniel Marshall, and also Vaj Lombardi too as well. Any shout outs you want to give out to as well, DDP?
Yeah, I'll run through some of the people we got here on the chat on the prospect page. Shout outs to Young Onyx, Gatewood Sports Report. If you guys haven't subscribed to him already, give him a subscribe. He's new to the game, but going to be working with prospect quite a bit, I imagine, moving forward. Also got the lovely Annette in here, Italian Cowboy, Patrick Rossman. Shout out to all of you. On Phantom, we have a KC Tar, I think, listening still. Yep, my new face. But again, that's on the Phantom chat, so it makes sense we'd have some new faces that we don't typically see. But yeah, thanks to everyone for watching and supporting. And thank you to you, Law, and James for kind of holding down the fort while I was out getting fixed up earlier tonight.
Yes, indeed, man. Get it all fixed up, man, and hopefully it just heal faster and we can get off to a good run for this season.
Yep.
And just tell them where they can find the website at and all this stuff at.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't already, check out the website, thedallasprospect.com, your home for Dallas sports and all things pop culture. You'll find lots of great Cowboys content, Mavericks content. I'm working as well to flesh out more, Big 12 football, Dallas Stars, Texas Rangers, all of that. But then we got the pop culture stuff as well. We've got gaming news and reviews, film critic stuff, music, interviews, all that. Lots of great stuff here that we're trying to build out and everything. And a big part of that is we're just a bunch of guys kind of pursuing our passions and all of that and trying to build and create the content that we wanted to see. So just like, Silver and Blue Talks, they are the voice of the fans. It's kind of the same aspect with Dallas Prospect as well. So you can also find us on Facebook at the Dallas Prospect. Twitter is at Dallas Prospect as well. And just don't forget to subscribe, not just to Dallas Prospect, but also to Law Nation, Silver and Blue, Gatewood Sports Report. Just, support us, help us grow the stuff, man. Help us grow the show.
Yes, indeed, man. So that's all the time we have for today. I really thank you guys for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. We're out. Peace.
Every legend was once a prospect.
Yes, indeed.